So we've got the hit on Iran by the United States, and I say good. And there are people out there desperate to say the United States is wrong. That's not what they're saying. They're saying they hate the United States and they are fine, okay with, and support terrorism. Let's expose these people for what they are, shall we? I'm Tony Katz. The show is Tony Katz Today. The radio show joins us. Let's begin.
Over the past 36 hours, the United States and its partners have launched Operation Epic Fury, one of the largest, most complex, most overwhelming military offensives the world has ever seen. Nobody's seen anything like it. We have hit hundreds of targets in Iran, including Revolutionary Guard facilities, Iranian air defense systems. Just now, it was announced that we knocked out 9 ships plus their naval building, all in a matter of literally minutes. Iran's formerly supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead. This wretched and vile man had the blood of hundreds and even thousands of Americans on his hands and was responsible for the slaughter of countless thousands of innocent people all across many countries.
And anybody who's going to miss him is the problem. The people out there saying, how dare we take out this terrorist? How dare we take out this torturer? How dare we get us involved in a forever war? These are the people who want America to fail and they want terrorists to succeed. Now, you might say to me, Tony, that sounds a bit harsh. Maybe that's hyperbolic. No part of it is harsh and no part of it is hyperbolic. These people have chosen and they have chosen poorly. Tony Katz. Tony Katz Today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. Find everything I do over at TonyKatz.com, live streaming on the YouTubes. Come check it out, subscribe, and be a part of it. The left is apoplectic that the rest of the world thinks that the removal of the Ayatollah is a good thing. Iranians are cheering in the streets of Tehran. They're taking to the streets of Los Angeles, of London, of New York, and cheering. They're crying while singing their national anthem. In London, it's Iranians and Jews celebrating. Because anybody who is of a rational mind knows that the Ayatollah was not Iranian, not speaking for these people who want to live their lives free, these people who are tortured by the Ayatollah, quite literally, if they weren't just killed. These people now have a chance at a better life, and that is certainly what I hope for them. That is not what the American left hopes for them. We're going to break this down. But we need to get an understanding of why this all happened. And there is a straight line that can be created here. I'm going to share it with you. Let's start with the moment that we learned this was happening. This was 1:27 a.m. Eastern Time, 9:27 there in Tehran. That's when these strikes begin. Now, I had spoken to some people and checked with some people and said, do we think that this is going to happen over the weekend? And some people were like, who knows? Yeah. Some people were like, definitely not. You got to wait to see if the embassy in Baghdad is evacuated. Now, we knew that the Israeli embassy, the word had gone out to evacuate. But we had not heard about Baghdad. And I was talking to Major Mike Lyons, who is our military guy, and he actually said those words. Wait till Baghdad gets evacuated. I think we still have a couple weeks. Wait till Baghdad gets evacuated. That'll tell you everything you need to know. Baghdad got evacuated the night before. He was not wrong. He was not wrong at all. The first bombs drop at 1:27 a.m. As of 3 a.m., the internet on that Saturday was gone. It was then, just a few hours later, that President Trump, wearing the USA white hat, said this is taking place, Operation Epic Fury. Good name. It's a good name. They were going to go with Operation F that guy, but that was already taken for another operation. So like, we can't use it. We can't use it for 2 operations. You can't do that. No. So he announces the operation. A couple hours later, the Israelis come out and say, "Oh, we are a part of this Operation Roaring Lion." So the first operation regarding October 7th was Operation Rising Lion. This was Operation Roaring Lion from the Israelis. At about 8 or 9 a.m. Eastern time on this Saturday, we learned something that is very, very peculiar. And you are right to note that it was strange, that it was odd, that it was weird. And that is that Iran started hitting other Arab and Muslim nations. Bahrain, the UAE, reports of missiles that were shot down over Jordan and Saudi Arabia, Kuwait. Why in the world would you go after these nations? Why would you go after them? We'll get to that. But first, why is the United States hitting Iran? Iran is not an existential threat to us. They weren't an imminent threat to us. They're no threat to us. All of that is leftist claptrap nonsense. The Iranians, which is to say not the people, but the leadership, is a terrorist organization in support of other terrorist organizations, in support of killing you, me, and we. These are the facts as presented. It's who they are. It's what they do. Of course, they are a threat. Every time the Houthi rebels fired American ships, that is a threat. That is Iran, because how do you think the Houthi rebels get paid? Here you have the United States working with other countries to try and rebuild Gaza, and there's still Hamas. How do you think they get paid? Never mind the funding that they give to Hezbollah in the north of Iran, of Israel, in Lebanon. They are nothing more than a terrorist organization in support of other terrorist organizations, and they get there. They get the money by selling their oil to China, whether that be through legal or illegal means. That's all it is. There is no question from the rational mind that Iran and the Iranian leadership, the Ayatollah and the mullahs, the hardliners, the clerics, they are a threat to the world. You want to pin this all on Israel? Okay, listen. We've been through all this before. We've heard all this before. You want to Marjorie Taylor Greene this thing, you go right ahead, but Marjorie Taylor Greene is a damn fool. Part of the problem is this idea about never wars. And Trump said, you're not going to see a war with Iran when I'm president. Yeah, he's got to deal with that. But let's understand, let's make sure that we're all on the same page, of at least where I am, and people can agree or disagree as they choose. The Iranian regime is not representative, as we know, and indicative of the Iranian people. They want to live free, and they have not been able to live free. The Iranian regime is a threat the world over, and it had to be dealt with. The Iranian regime was working towards a nuclear weapon. They, after even Trump's bombing raid back in 2025, they continued to try and make headroads down this way. They weren't going to stop until they were stopped. You're not going to stop the Ayatollah. You're not going to stop these Islamists. You're not going to stop these terrorists until they are stopped. The leftist wants to make the claim that this is all the fault of Israel dragging us into another war. But it's not just the leftist. This is the woke right that wants to make this same argument, whether it's Tucker or Candace or Nick Fuentes or name another scumbag. I don't care if they like me. I don't care if they say mean things about me. None of it matters. It's a stupid argument. Does Israel clearly want an end to the Iranian regime that's been threatening them their entire existence? Yes. Or at least the last 40 plus years of their existence? Absolutely they do. Of this, there is no question whatsoever. Of course, Israel wants them gone, done, wants the regime over with. That's undoubtedly true. Doesn't change the fact that the Iranians are the sponsors of terrorism and have engaged in attacks on American citizens, have engaged in attacks on American troops. They aren't the good guys. They don't have a case here. The Iranian regime under the Ayatollah doesn't have a case that can be made for why they are somehow being treated poorly, and the left and the woke right want to make some argument for why he wasn't a threat. These people are out of their heads and they're wrong. The obvious threat can be seen throughout history. The defense of it, well, comes from two places. From the left, it comes from an absolute hate of the United States. And from the right, the woke right, it comes from the absolutely ignorant and childlike place of no more wars. Kitten, what are you even talking about? Some people, some groups, some organizations are a threat and they have to go. It's not because I want it to be that way. It's because it is that way. It's because it is that way. Is the person saying we shouldn't take out the Ayatollah okay with the Iranians shooting at Americans in the Red Sea? And the answer to them is, well, you shouldn't be in the Red Sea. So now how do you handle the trade situation with the number of ships that flow through the Suez Canal? What price are you willing to pay for the goods? Well, we shouldn't get goods from the rest of the world. You just make in the United States. We don't make everything in the United States. Are we out of our heads? It's an ignorant argument. Let me give you another ignorant argument that shows up in the chat room. You join up then, and then he called me a dirty word. This is the second argument. This is the second argument from the left and the woke right, and I want to put this argument to bed. The argument is, sure, you'll go to war and you'll send somebody else's kids to war. If you want war so much, why don't you join? Throughout history, you're always sending somebody else's kid to war. That's how this works. So to the left and to the woke right, you are a bunch of cowards. You're right. I never served. I never put on the uniform. That is not what it takes to recognize that there are moments, and people who do put on the uniform do recognize this. And I am sorry to say that it is very clear over the last years or decades, we have done a terrible job in the military of bringing on the right people to engage in the right conversation about the fight in general. You are always sending somebody else's kid to do the fight. I didn't say do it for light and transient causes. I didn't say do it on a whim. I didn't say do it half-assed. But the idea that you're not going to send somebody else's kid, oh, we can't do that, it's somebody else's kid. Nope, you can't be a part of that, somebody else's kid. It's always somebody else's kid, and that's why they sign up, because they know it could be them, but they're a different breed and they're special, or at least they should be. You see the people coming out now, oh, I would never do that. Oh, you're sending somebody else's kid. It's always somebody else's kid. Get your head out of wherever it is and deal with the reality. You absolute cowards. The Iranian regime is a threat. The Ayatollah is a threat. The Ayatollah had to go. And I'd appreciate it very, very much if everybody would grow up and start dealing with reality. This is the reality. The reality is the Iranian people now have a chance. They got to take it for themselves. I agree with that. But we should be clear, this was a regime change war. This was a regime change war. And we should not kid ourselves. I know that Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, Secretary of Defense, however you want to call it, was saying this wasn't regime change. Of course it was. What, are we going to lie to each other? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But the woke right and the political left, for very different reasons, are both on the wrong side of an argument. The political left hates America. The woke right hates Israel. And they think that that's the story here. It's not. It's not, there'll be plenty of people who want to say that because, hating Israel is just part of the plan. I don't care about those people. What we have to do is ask ourselves why. Why do we get to this moment right now? The answer is the Abraham Accords. And I will break it down coming up in just a bit. Keep it here. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. Oh my goodness. So many people angry in the chat, sitting in your basement talking about other people dying. Jimmy, you're not really good at this, so allow me to introduce myself. My name is Tony Katz. I do this show every day. I never mind a comment, and I certainly don't mind disagreement. This is not my basement. This is not my basement. Just wanted you to know. You are weak if you believe that somehow the United States, going back to the taking of hostages in 79, the killing of Marines in 83, and then the continued attacks from Iran, should just continue to take it while they pursue a nuclear weapon, which they do, which the Obama administration allowed them to do with alacrity, and even the destruction of Isfahan, Natanz, and Fordow has not thwarted them. It had to be over. Only the fool would let them try and achieve those goals. You want to say it's all because of Israel? I would say it's embarrassing if it's all because of Israel. The United States should be smarter. The problem is the American left is not bright at all and wants America's downfall. And the woke right are the biggest bunch of schmucks who ever lived. You're not tough. And you're screaming about sending other people's kids to die. They joined the military. Do you think they did it for show? They joined the military. Your argument is nonsense. It's embarrassing. It's shameful. It's just dumb. We have a military. What do you do with it? Oh, nothing. It's just for show. It's an unbelievably stupid argument put forth by incredibly stupid people who I argue are cowards. I didn't say do things flippantly. I said I was very clear about that. You have to fight properly with overwhelming force. And yes, we have 4 dead Americans thus far. And President Trump said it might be more, and it's awful. Yet, here we are. Some people have to go. It's us or them, and I choose us. And if you want to pretend that the Iranian regime isn't a threat, you can, while you're protected by the United States and an ocean away. But when they become the threat, as they work towards the threat, as they've always been the threat in the amount of people they have killed, you want to pretend it's not going to hit you. Well, I don't have the luxury of being able to be protected behind your absolute stupidity and cowardice. Don't think yourself morally superior, kitten. That dog won't hunt. And by the way, it is absolutely America first, unquestionably. No one is talking about people who've joined up on their own accord, says Jimmy, but war historically has involved people being called up. You are changing the conversation, not going to allow it. No one's been called up, and these people did join, and it's always sending somebody else's kid to war. That's why we better elect good leaders who understand how to win, how to build a game plan, and how to use overwhelming force. I would vote for conservatives and Republicans going forward, because if Lloyd Austin was in charge today, the death toll might be insurmountable. I'm telling you, right. That's a rude thing to say. It's a rude thing to say. Lloyd Austin never would have taken on the Iranian regime. There we go. So, Jimmy, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you, your comments. and I'm more than happy to show you where you're wrong on this. Now you can believe whatever you want. I can't stop you. But understand that your comments here make you look silly. And if you want to bring better comments, I'm right here, man. So thank you for watching. Can I change gears just for a quick moment? I end up looking like Val Kilmer. There is this. I've seen this story now a couple times. I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking at here, and it has to do with Jim Carrey getting an award, and he doesn't look like him at all. He looks like he has had a serious amount of plastic surgery. Let me see if I can. Yeah, let me here. If you're watching the live stream, I'll show you right here. He doesn't look anything like himself. Like this is like him before, and he's got like high cheekbones now, and he's got this Val Kilmer plastic surgery look. I don't know why people do this to themselves. I don't know why people engage this plastic surgery thing. Listen, plastic surgery, I should say, I don't have an issue with. The facelift stuff, I have an issue with. Somebody just said, look at Kelly Osbourne. Okay, now, I don't know where she was. I don't know what award show it was. But Kelly Osbourne, the daughter of Ozzy Osbourne and Sharon Osbourne, appears at this event. And Kelly Osbourne, who when she was doing that show on MTV was certainly an overweight girl, she's anorexic skinny. And she's getting angry with people. How dare you body shame me? I've had an absolutely terrible year. She looks sickly. And it's okay for people to notice, oh my gosh, when someone looks sickly. So that's a case of just beyond not eating. I don't even think that's plastic surgery. That's just, that is the need of a sandwich and healthy eating. Jim Carrey, it looks like plastic surgery. In the end, you can do what you want. I will tell you, the only thing I've ever said to my wife is no plastic surgery. No facelifts. The face must remain. That's my face. I like to look at that face. I got to look at that face every day over breakfast. I want a good face to look at. Don't mess with a thing. I don't know why they do it. I don't know what I'm curious to know the mindset of what they see in the mirror. Right? That's what I'm curious about. What do they see? How does it satisfy? Because Jim Carrey was just a guy who was a great comic actor and great actor and got older and some wrinkles or whatever. We're all going to get them. So what? Keep it here. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. I was going to play a break song, but nah, I'm not going to do that. We are going to get into the why of how this comes to be, how this hit on Iran comes to be. Let me see. Sorry, just going through some of the comments. There are always comments. Somebody, I think it was Libertarian Dragon, was like, Tony's coming out strong today. Maybe it was the car dude. If you don't follow the chat, there we've got We've got good people in the chat who are with us daily, and I appreciate them very, very much. It's not that I mean to get rough and tumble. It's just we're kidding ourselves with these lefties and this woke right bullcrap, and they think that they're good people. They think they're these great Americans. They think that they're strong. They're not strong. They're the weakest. They're weak. I am not stating that you have to be in some kind of fight to prove that you're tough or prove that you're strong. I am saying that 40 plus years of getting punched in the face is kind of stupid. But with all of these things, one should ask why. Why now? I think the ignorant goes to, well, Israel's forcing them. That's not it. Wait till you learn that this isn't about Israel. This is about all those Arab nations and Muslim nations that surround Israel. We'll get into it. I brought this theory to everyone Saturday night. And for those of you who were with me at Trump 1 year and 1 month later, man, what a good night. What a good night. Producer Landon was there. He had some sips of the good stuff. He's still feeling it. The bourbon, the food. I got a crab cake, and I got a beef Wellington. There were many beef Wellingtons. So there was a bunch of other food. I never got to it. I never ever saw it because I wasn't out front. So it was spectacular time. And I explained, I wasn't, of course, planning on doing anything about Iran, but everything had broken that day. I'm like, what am I going to do? Do this event and not mention it? Like, what kind of person am I? So it ended up like adding like 20 plus minutes to the presentation. Oh, I went longer than I wanted to. I didn't know how to not. But I explained that there's a line to be drawn here that starts with the Abraham Accords that set the stage for everything that just happened. And I want to break that down for everybody. So that is what we will do. We will get into that next. Also, the shooting in Austin. Let me get to that right here. And anyone shocked that there's a terrorism link? No one should be shocked. Anyway, let's get back to the show. Let's get to it. In Austin, 2 people are dead, 14 were injured when a 53-year-old former New York City resident immigrant from Senegal opened fire at a beer garden. Tony Katz today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. Had a rifle and wearing a hooded sweatshirt that read "Property of Allah." The Wall Street Journal puts out a headline, 2 dead in Austin bar shooting. FBI sees possible links to terrorism. I, for one, am shocked. Was this in response to what took place in Iran? Special agent in charge saying it's too early to know the shooter's motive. The shooter was killed in what came next after the shooting that he engaged in. This guy entered the U.S. on a B-2 tourist visa in March of 2000. In 2006, he became a lawful permanent resident through marriage to an American citizen, naturalized as a U.S. citizen in April of 2013. More information is going to come out. one could say it's connected to what happened in Iran. And of course, you have the usual suspects on the political left who hate America. And I'm going to get into that. And you've got the woke right. No more forever wars. We don't need any wars. This was unnecessary. I disagree. I didn't say they couldn't have their opinion. I disagree. What I will not accept is the argument of you're sending other people's kids into war. That is always the way it works. Somebody said many veterans disagree with you. I wouldn't be surprised that many veterans disagree with me. I bet you I can find a whole lot of veterans who agree with me. No surprise there. But a veteran disagreeing with me doesn't change reality. It doesn't. It never will. They have an opinion and I have mine. But I don't get told I'm not allowed to have an opinion because I never served. That's just garbage. So disagreeing is, well, kind of the American thing, right? But I want to get into why. I want to get into why this happened. Why is it that this was the moment for taking out the regime? Why wasn't it when we took out the nuclear facilities back in, what was that, July? July of 2025? Why didn't we do it then? Why now? Well, allow me. This didn't happen just now. This has never been happening just now. This has a direct line that starts with the Abraham Accords. Everything you are witnessing, everything you have just witnessed, has zero to do with just now. The stage was set for all of this with the creation of the Abraham Accords. This complete rethink on how the Middle East should deal with itself. What the Abraham Accords said, and I'm paraphrasing here, and Jared Kushner is more than welcome to disagree with me if he chose. The Abraham Accords say to Arab nations and Muslim nations, those in the Middle East, hey, we get that you don't want to do anything with Israel or work with Israel or even mention Israel until there is a solution regarding the Palestinians, two-state solution, whatever some people think it should be. There can be no two-state solution when terrorists are in charge, but hopefully the terrorists will be gone soon, and then we can rethink everything. The Abraham Accord said instead of, well, first solve this and then we can get to that, it switched those, it flipped those and said, why don't we engage in trade? Why don't you and Israel engage in trade? The U.S. will absolutely be supportive of all of this. And then through trade and tourism and building up some relationships, we can then all come to an understanding of what we could do here. And remember, these Palestinians, they're really ethnically from all of your countries. You just won't take them back. And some nations said, yep. Yeah, we're good with that. Because the other way was getting them nowhere. The other way was getting them nowhere. This idea that only the two-state solution could solve things, that's what happens. That's what happens when you have Ivy League elites deciding your foreign policy, it would seem. It was only one way. It was only this way. It could only be discussed through this point of view, through this argument. And to his credit, and by the way, the credit of other people who've engaged conversations like this, Donald Trump said, no, we can think of this in another way. Why don't we try it like this? And to the credit of Jared Kushner, he did a very good job of selling it. The Abraham Accords start going into effect. Now, understand that the people and the group this hurt most and affected most was the Iranian regime. The Iranian regime gets affected because they're the ones who want to be the hegemonic power, and they want to do so not through leadership, but through fear. We'll bomb you here, we'll attack you here, we'll engage a terrorist organization here, because they have this oil money that they're willing to spend on it. This affected them greatly because it took away their largest trump card. I didn't mean Trump that way, but you get what I'm saying. It took away their ability to threaten, because now, well, hey, America, I'm now doing this deal with Israel, and you said you would be supportive of it, and here's the Iranians threatening me. Where's my help? The other nations of the Middle East know that the Iranian regime was the problem. They were the ones stirring up the crap. They were the ones creating the issues. They were the ones engaging in the violence. They were the ones engaging in the destabilization and engaging in basically a threatening pose and posture to other Muslim and Arab nations. Abraham Accords. Now draw the line to October 7th, 2023. The Iranian regime, through their proxy Hamas, attack Israelis, kill 1,200 Israelis, kill American citizens, kill Thai nationals, rape women, set children on fire, and take hostages. And the Israelis do something they haven't done in, well, maybe since 1948. One could argue maybe since the Six-Day War. Although that was only 6 days. They don't stop. We have lived through enough of this to note that Israel gets hit, they hit back, the world says, what do you think you're doing? It's not in proportion. And Israel stops. Israel didn't stop. And nations said, you have to stop. And Israel said, nah, these people are going to die. These terrorists are going to die. We're done trying. By the way, that wasn't just Bibi, Benjamin Netanyahu. That wasn't just the Likud. That was the whole of Israel, from Eilat to the Golan Heights. We're done with these people. Mount up, everybody. You know what it is to be a September 12th American? These were October 8th Israelis. They went from being a country that no one was allowed to have a gun if they weren't serving in the military, to the country said, okay, everybody can have a gun. Now we're going to limit the amount of ammunition, because they didn't want terrorists being able to break into homes and get more firearms. And people started carrying everywhere. We're done with these people, said the Israelis. And they kept going, and they kept going. And when Joe Biden and his leftist lowlife cronies in that administration said, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, what the Israelis said was, you do what you got to do, Joey. By the way, we know you're not in charge. We're going to keep going. And that changed the perception. No one's putting up with this terrorism anymore. No one's putting up with this regime anymore. And you'll note all of these Muslim and Arab nations, they may have said, oh, I can't believe Israel's doing this. None of them put up a troop to stop it, because they want the Iranian regime gone too. Which brings us to the Board of Peace. The dumbest name that has ever existed, ever. The Board of Peace, which is about the rebuilding of Gaza. Here are all these nations. You're going to put in $1 billion, you're going to put in $200 million, you're going to put in this, you're going to put in that, you're going to put in this, you're going to put in the other. So now they're going to invest to rebuild Gaza. That's called having skin in the game. And here's this terrorist organization trying to rebuild their nuclear capability and still supporting terrorism. I can't have them having terrorists where I'm putting in my investment. I got to protect my investment. Stop thinking of the Board of Peace as the Board of Peace. Start thinking of the Board of Peace in the following way. It is not about a Board of Peace. The Board of Peace is a mafia family working with other mafia families, divvying up the land and saying who's going to protect who from what. You've got the cops and you've got the judges and you've got this one, you're going to do that one. You're going to get that corner, you're going to be in that business. No, that belongs to this guy. This one's yours. And Trump is the head of the families. And then the families got together and they said, we can't have these Iranian things. This Ayatollah scumbag. He's going to ruin everything. It's going to ruin my investment. I'm expecting a nice envelope every month from this. And so they said, well, I ain't going to miss him. And then another family said, I won't miss him. And then another family said, who are we even talking about? I don't miss him right now. And then a wink, and then a nod. And here we are. You think that this was just Donald Trump acting on a whim at the behest of the Israelis? Can I ask the woke right and the left a question? I'm not asking you. I'm asking the woke right and the left a question. Are you really that stupid? Are you really that bereft the ravages of thought that you would think that it's now because the Israelis finally broke through on saying Iran is bad? Kids, the world has not changed for a millennia. This is about money. Now, it's also about safety and security. But this is about money. This is about Muslim and Arab nations wanting to protect their investment. Israel, talking about the problem that Iran is for decades, didn't move the needle. But 5 or 6 Muslim and Arab nations saying, you know, these Jews ain't necessarily wrong. Bip, bop, boom, goodbye, Ayatollah. It's a straight line from the Abraham Accords to the Board of Peace. And that is why the Ayatollah is dead today and hopefully will be dead tomorrow. I'm Tony Katz. Beth, I don't know what you're referring to here. I met Beth at the show. I appreciate you being there, Beth. Thanks. What do I love in reference? What you gotta tell me now. Mel, holy cow! I spoke with Stephen Yates today. That'll be in the 3rd hour. I'll share that and I'll get that video up as well. Holy cow! That's it. You want to talk about an interesting triangulation? We're thinking of this regarding solely Iran. And the point that I make regarding the Middle East is I think unbelievably factual. I think the facts do speak for themselves. I think it plays out once you think about it in this way. We all understand that the people most affected over the last 3 months by geopolitical moves by Trump is China, right? Venezuela, I mean, to your point, Mel, that's absolutely right. Venezuela over here, which supplies oil to the Chinese via the Russians and their ghost ships. Iran, which supplies oil to China. I know I'm not the only person thinking these things. Look at you. That's exactly right. When you are not all in your emotions and all you do is just take a step back. Can't be that far from the microphone. Sorry. Take a step back. And I am often reminded, excuse me, I don't know if you ever saw the movie Searching for Bobby Fischer with Ben Kingsley and Lawrence Fishburne. Ben Kingsley is teaching this kid about chess, searching for Bobby Fischer. And the line is constantly, see the whole board. Look at the whole board. And I swear to you, I saw that maybe I was a teenager, maybe I was a kid. I have said that to myself 9 billion times in my life. When I'm looking at something, I'm reading a story, I'm like, I don't get, what am I missing here? See the whole board. Stop. Take a step back. Don't get wrapped up in the emotion. What is it that's happening? When you see the whole board, you realize that this is very much about China, which is going to bring us to a third point. Hold on. I'm going to put this on the board. I have a whiteboard. Oh, yeah. The third part of the China connection. Mel, what is it? And why is it? Venezuela's 1, Iran is 2. What is the third thing? Never have a moment where a communist can't say something unbelievably stupid.
Today's military strikes by the United States and Israel mark a catastrophic escalation in an illegal act of war, of aggression. Bombing cities, killing civilians, opening up a new theater of war. Americans do not want this. Americans do not want another war in pursuit of regime change.
Shut up, you dumb commie loser. Dumb commie loser. You let people freeze to death. Best of luck with your government-run grocery stores. What do you know about what Americans want? You hate the place. The left has made this so perfectly clear that they hate the place. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Really good question. There's a lot of good stuff happening in the chat room today. But this is a good question. Does Africa not play a part in China? I am going to get into how China is affected by everything that has happened via the United States and our foreign policy in the last 3 months. I'm going to break this down. By the way, speaking of they, did you hear Rashida Tlaib? Did you hear Rashida Tlaib refer to the United States, where she is a member of Congress and took an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution? Did you hear where she referred to the U.S. as they? And I don't think she was talking pronouns. Does Africa not play a part in China? There's a real worthy discussion here about how a lot of focus is given to the Middle East, and for a lot of reasons, and oil being one of those reasons, religious being another one of those reasons. But Africa doesn't get enough of our attention. And it is true. How does Africa play a part in China? Well, a huge one, as a matter of fact. And I will try and fold that into the conversation. Meanwhile, the lefty reaction to everything happening in Iran, that's coming up next. Keep it here. This is Tony Katz today. China has been trying, making moves in African nations for years. Same thing is true with South America. I doubt I'm the only one. I'm definitely not the only one. We've misplayed the African opportunity for, I don't know, how many years do you want to call it? How many decades do you want to call it? And we should stop. We're misplaying it, and we should stop. We can do this better. We can create better relationships. We can create better opportunities for them, for us. And we should. Now, some African nations, if they still want to be tribal warlord focused in terms of gang activity, if you will, etc., Islamist, Boko Haram, that's going to be very difficult. But there's real nations doing incredible work and can be, and why aren't we more aggressive about it? Because it's Africa. We're out of our minds. We're missing one of the great opportunities of the next 100 years. Now, if you say to me, well, who first? Who do you want to partner up with first? I state Central America and Southern America, South America. I do, because of the hemisphere. But man, now someone said, just wrote in, leave Africa alone. You mean the whole continent or specific nations? Secondly, if there are African nations that don't want to work with us, well, we won't work with them. I think it's just about value, trade, and education. I don't think it's about anything else. I just think that there are opportunities, and we lose sight of the value that Africa has, and we shouldn't. That's my point. We're taking the radio break, so we'll take the quick break right now. Smoke them if you got them. Stretch, do whatever it is that you do. Hang out, and we'll be back in just, I don't know, just a few minutes. Just a few minutes. Sound good? Sounds good. We'll be back. Keep it here. Welcome back, everybody. Tony Katz. The show is Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Appreciate everybody in the comments. Having fun being a part of the show. Appreciate you being here quite a bit. Don't forget to subscribe. I would appreciate that as well. The president spoke earlier. He was doing a Medal of Honor ceremony. I don't think he is expected to engage on anything else. I'm not expecting any other commentaries from him. The Israelis were doing their presser. Let them handle that. I want to get into the absolute insanity of the progressive response. And I mean, this is not all of it. This is just some of their crazy. The New York Times, the Washington Post, that insanity by Rashida Tlaib, Columbia University, and just a quick story about something local that you have to be aware of. It could be happening right near you. Coming back to the radio show, let's go do this thing. You take Nicolas Maduro out of power, the drugs into the United States, never mind the horror show he is for the Venezuelans. The Venezuelan people cheer, and American liberals say, "How dare you?" It was a fine example of how completely out of touch the American left is. Really a broken group of people. People who do not see the country the way we do. As Kendrick explained, they not like us. They really aren't. Tony Katz today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. Find everything at TonyKatz.com. Angry, upset, infuriated that we would make a move on Nicolas Maduro, who took over for Hugo Chavez in that regime, and the people of Venezuela have lived in hell. Well, Tony, the people of Venezuela are having a hard time. That's not necessarily our fault, is it? It's not our problem, is it? I didn't say it was our fault. I didn't necessarily say it was our problem. But I don't think there's anything wrong with getting a drug runner to stop running the drugs. I didn't think there was anything wrong with taking out the drug boats either. And the precision with which that operation was undertaken boggles the mind. It was incredibly well done. And part of the operation's purpose was to show the world what we can do. You can argue the same thing is true about what it is you're seeing in Iran. The president, by the way, stating that things are progressing faster than expected, and any threat will be crushed, whatever it takes, which is the proper argument. It's not only the argument to show the rest of the world that when we say we're going to do something, we're not stopping until it is done. It is an argument to the rest of America that, yeah, we really do know how to do this if we actually go about doing it. And now adults are in the room handling the thing. And allow me to say, thank goodness we have adults in the room. When you don't have adults in the room, you get Jimmy Carter. When you don't have adults in the room, you leave billions of dollars of hardware to the Taliban as you make a hasty exit and lead to 13 Americans' deaths that you don't care enough about. So when their bodies arrive home, you're looking at your watch. Joe Biden should never be able to live that one down. Adults in the room matter. The left constantly shows itself to not be like us, to be wholly and completely un-American. We start with just some of the basic reactions to what happened in Iran, where George Conway, who is famous for having sex with Kellyanne Conway and having no other discernible skills, but he's a darling of the left because he hates Trump, he actually put out on social media, perhaps the terrorist state with nuclear weapons is the United States of America. At that moment, you realize you're not dealing with rational people. You're not dealing with normal people. You're dealing with anti-American zealots. And that's what George Conway is. And that's where today's American left is. That's who they are. It is an un-American point of view and an un-American group of people. I do not argue with the people, or have an issue, I should say, with the people who say, well, the problem here is that the president didn't declare war. And Congress needs to declare war. I don't disagree that Congress needs to declare war. However, it should be noted that the president is well within his rights via the War Powers Act. He is allowed to engage. He has to notify Congress within 48 hours of what has happened, which is what he is doing today. And he has 60 days to wrap up operations or ask for a declaration of war from Congress. A Congress where you cannot be sure these leftists and Thomas Massie would deliver. Thomas Massie wants to make the argument that Iran is not a threat. Thomas Massie is wrong. Thomas Massie wants to make an argument regarding economics. Sometimes he's right. But on every conversation on foreign policy over these last couple of years, Thomas Massie has failed. I don't know if you want to call it the woke right or just ridiculous, but he's wrong in this argument. Now, if Congress wants to go about changing the War Powers Act, they're more than welcome to. But so far, President Trump is absolutely within his authority. But we now go through a series of moments here, a series of statements made by progressives that show that they're not like us, and what they favor and what they believe in is not America on top. This is George Stephanopoulos asking the question of Adam Schiff, the senator from California. What in the world is this talk of imminent threat? Even Andy McCarthy in the pages of National Review is like, what in the world does that even mean? Adam Schiff wants a standard to exist that doesn't exist. At what moment is the threat from the regime imminent? When they've built the nuclear weapon, or when the Ayatollah is just bringing his finger down to press the button? At what moment? At what moment in the descent of the pointer finger is it imminent, or is it just going to be a fist down? He uses thumb. I don't know. Pick your digit. At what moment is it imminent? Senator Schiff, Senator, aren't you embarrassed? California should be damn well embarrassed. You elected a schmuck. Imminent threat. How about the idea that you take out the threat before it becomes imminent? You absolute fool. Do you cut out the cancer when you first hear about it, or right at the moment where all the chemo has failed and you're just 3 days away from death? At what moment? That's Schiff. Then you get to the New York Times. Oh, you can never go wrong with the New York Times, ladies and gentlemen. They'll never let you down. The New York Times puts out a headline that says Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, hardline cleric who made Iran a regional power, is dead at 86. No conversation about the killing of gay people. No conversation about the torture. No conversation in the headline about the terrorism. Just hardline cleric who made Iran a regional power. But when Rush Limbaugh dies at 70, turned talk radio into a right-wing attack machine. I mean, what else is there to say? At every moment, the New York Times, the Washington Post, they will side with the worst despots out there. This is the Washington Post, where you have the story from the good people at Newsbusters. Remember, these are the guys who said of ISIS leader, he was an austere religious scholar. And their obituary says, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Iran's supreme leader, is dead at 86. And here's what they wrote. They wrote, he had previously called on Iranians to rise up and pledged. Oh, no, wait, that was not it. Yes. No, that was not it. Where is it? Here it is. With his bushy white beard and easy smile, Ayatollah Khamenei cut a more avuncular figure in public than his perpetually scowling but much more revered mentor, as he was known to be fond of Persian poetry and classic Western novels. He was a terrorist. He was a terrorist. Supported terrorism. Supported the killing of 1,200 Israelis, the raping of women, and setting of children on fire. Bushy white beard. He was just Santa for Muslims. I don't know how many more ways to explain to you that they hate you. They hate America. They side with terrorists. This is who they are. More and more and more and more. Then there is this lie about how the Israelis bombed a school, the United States bombed a school. There is no proof that the U.S. or Israel dropped a bomb on a school. There has been a discussion of an Iranian missile that misfired and hit the school, with the school being near some military sites. There is zero proof of this, and if you buy into this, you are Rashida Tlaib stupid and Rashida Tlaib levels of propagandist. Which brings us to Rashida Tlaib, who posted both the U.S. and genocidal Israel doesn't care about the laws. No, that's not even proper English. It doesn't matter. Let's do this again. Both the U.S. and genocidal Israel doesn't care about the laws. This is who they are. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Forgive me here. Did you just say they? This is who they are? You're a member of the United States Congress. The U.S. is now they. Look, I've looked at the oath of office, and I'm asking Speaker Mike Johnson, if she took the oath of office and she views the U.S. as they, how could she possibly uphold, protect, and defend the Constitution? Maybe there was a lie told, and maybe for violating the oath, you got to go. By the way, Dearborn, we see you. And we've also heard some of your religious leaders. You got a problem. You have got a problem. Maybe you are the problem. Are you not interested in upholding, defending, and protecting the Constitution? Do you not want your elected leaders to do that? Whether it's Dearborn or whether it's any of these areas that surround in Michigan or really any other city you can go to in the country. Because if you're not willing to uphold, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States, you got to go. And if you refer to the United States as they when you serve in Congress, you also have to go. Then there's Columbia University. You can never, ever go wrong with Columbia University. They've got a whole a Twitter feed for their boycott, divestment, and sanction. And what do they write? Margbar America. Would you like to take a guess as to what it means? Do you want to take a guess? Well, death to America. Let's see if I'm right. Let's just make sure that I'm right. Death to America. It's the Persian phrase for death to America. That's what they post to Columbia. So now, who in the world is posting this? And are they in the country on a student visa? And if they are, deport them. And the more they cry, the more you should throw them into the back of airplanes. And if they don't like it, into the cargo holds you go. And we're not even going to land. We've got a whole bunch of parachutes. We're going to try one out on you. Don't want to hear it. Don't want it. Don't yell at me. Don't send me an email. You know what? You want to send me an email? Send me an email. Send it to clayandbuck@yahoo.com. I'm sure it'll get to me right away. The left is telling you something. The left is showing you their disdain for America and their support for a terrorist regime. You can't vote for these people. They're insane. If you are in your early or mid-20s and you're trying to get your life going, get your job going, get your career going, get a family going, get a future going, these leftists want you to be subjected to terrorist violence. They don't want you to have a career and a life and a future. You can't vote for these people. I didn't say the Republican Party was perfect. These people are somewhat dumb at times, maybe more than just at times. But these lefties support terrorists. They don't support the country at all. You can't vote for these people. They're nuts. And they aren't going to stop anytime soon. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. Sorry about that. There you go. Oil prices are down a little bit. They're still higher, right? They're still up because of the attack, but they came down a little bit from where the highs were earlier today. Qatar has now downed 2 Iranian fighters. Qatar, which absolutely would have been on the side of Iran. And remember, I am not a Qatar guy. The amount of money they spend lobbying the United States, the amount of money they're putting into U.S. Universities, a serious issue is Qatar. Tony Katz. Tony Katz today. Good to be here, guys. Thank you for being here. But Qatar has now shot down 2 Su-24 aircraft coming from the Islamic Republic of Iran. They intercepted, according to their statement, 7 ballistic missiles through air defenses, intercepted 5 drones via the Qatar Emiri Air Force and naval forces. Qatar. Maybe we're right. And that the Middle East sees a whole different point of view here. One where the Iranian military, the Iranian terrorists are no longer necessary, I should say, not military terrorists, where the Iranian people get to live free and everybody else gets to make a whole boatload of money and doesn't have to have this adversarial relationship with the United States or anybody else. And I think this upsets the left greatly. Because how in the world do you further the conversation of America terrible, America bad that the left so desperately, desperately wants when the rest of the world is working with you? That doesn't mean that we shouldn't be keeping an eye on things. And I say Qatar is an issue, a real issue. But I think we need to keep an eye on Saudi Arabia too. But if they're not going to be bombing us, attacking us, engaging in terrorism against us or our forces, etc., okay. Listen, well, I'll never understand your way of life. I'll never be down for it. I'll never go that direction. I'll fight you on it if I need to. But we agree on this, and that's a plus. That's valuable. There was also learning that the president has stated that CENTCOM stating that B-1 bombers have been moved deep inside Iran. This, according to U.S. Central Command, last night U.S. B-1 bombers struck deep inside Iran to degrade Iranian ballistic missile capabilities. As the president stated, we're going to destroy their missiles and raze, R-A-Z-E, raise their missile industry to the ground. President Trump said the U.S. sank 10 Iranian Navy vessels in the opening salvo. According to the Israelis, or at least reporting about the Israelis, they killed 40 high-level Iranian officials in the first 60 seconds. I have an easy time believing that. 3 more things coming up, including the China connection. Keep it here. This is Tony Katz today. All right. Release all the Epstein files. I'm cool with that. Yeah. Sounds great. Release all the Epstein files. I'm so glad we had this talk. Oh, you think Trump decided to hit Iran to keep people from talking about the Epstein files? Well, that's the kind of special thing that gets you a lot of clicks on social media, but doesn't mean anything once you leave your mom's basement. God. Good Lord. So by the by, can I share something with the chat room? A bunch of people were there at my events, right? Trump 1 year and 1 month later, and the big red tie gala we did over the weekend, and it was sensationally cool. It was super groovy, and I thought it was awesome. And so Ken, I met Ken. My wife is picking up a bottle of 2XO. It's 2XO, not X2O. 2XO is the name of the bourbon. And yes, they make some very, very good stuff. Can I tell you, I saw somebody, I'm on stage, and I'm like, all right, I'm not, maybe there's something going on, I don't know. I'm in the middle of the presentation, and I saw somebody come out of the hallway, right, where all the food was and the bar setups, and they had a bottle of the bourbon. Boom, put it on one of the high boys. I'm like, I saw it, and I said, am I going to say something about it? No, I'm pressed for time. I got to keep going. I don't know if they took a bottle with them, just took a bottle. I have no idea. I was like, dang, that is, all right, that's the kind of move I would make. So maybe I was just impressed. I don't know who that was. Let us move on as we get ready to do some more show. I'm going to get into the China conversation coming up. And what comes next? President Trump saying the strikes will continue for the next 4 to 5 weeks. That's some real commitment. This isn't a do something and just move on to the next. Very, very different approach. Okay. One minute. Thank you, Landon. I'm just seeing if there's anything else I missed. I saw an article about how the new Star Trek is just absolutely horrific and woke. Is it? If it's not, it doesn't have Picard. I don't need to see it. I'm good. Ever in your life, you've never seen anything Star Trek related? You've never seen The Wrath of Khan? You need to see Wrath of Khan. I actually don't know if you need to see any of it. I don't know. He's now going on about Star Trek. Forgive me, I just zoned out. Oh. 3 more things to get to. Tony Katz today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. Find it all at TonyKatz.com. Live streaming there on the YouTubes, which you can also find at Twitter X, Tony Katz, Facebook, Tony Katz Radio. Just go to YouTube.com, look for Tony Katz, and boom, subscribe. And the next thing you know, you will lead a full and happy life. The Wall Street Journal stating that President Trump has been very clear that strikes will continue for the next 4 to 5 weeks. President Trump speaking earlier before awarding Medal of Honor recipients said that the objective is clear.
7 years, this regime has been attacking the United States and killing Americans. Every time you see someone with missing arms and legs, or a face that's been absolutely shattered violently, it was almost certainly caused by an Iran roadside bomb. They were put there by General Soleimani, who was the father of the roadside bomb. Very proudly, he thought, but I terminated him in my first term. This was our last best chance to strike, what we're doing right now, and eliminate the intolerable threats posed by this sick and sinister regime. and they are indeed sick and sinister. Our objectives are clear. First, we're destroying Iran's missile capabilities, and you see that happening on an hourly basis, and their capacity to produce brand new ones, and pretty good ones they make. Second, we're annihilating their navy. We've knocked out already 10 ships. They're at the bottom of the sea. Third, we're ensuring that the world's number one sponsor of terror can never obtain a nuclear weapon, never going to have a nuclear weapon. I said that from the beginning. They're never going to have a nuclear weapon. They were on the road to getting one legitimately through a deal that was signed foolishly by our country. And finally, we're ensuring that the Iranian regime cannot continue to arm, fund, and direct terrorist armies outside of their borders. And we thought we had a deal, but then they backed out. And they came back, and we thought we had a deal, and they backed out. I said, you can't deal with these people. You got to do it the right way. Today, we grieve for the 4 heroic American service members who have been killed in action and send our love and support to their families. In their memory, we continue this mission with ferocious, unyielding resolve to crush the threat this terrorist regime poses to the American people, and a threat indeed it is.
Now, I think that for some people, the idea of American casualties, of course, it horrifying. It does make some people queasy. I am not one of those people. I don't want it, and sacrifices need to be remembered and respected. But that was the president saying, "Okay, here's our case. Here's what we're laying out." Now, someone asked in our chat room here, "What's the exit plan?" Legit question, to which I can't give a perfect answer. It is my take that it's going to involve here's the crown prince, and here are these people, and they are going to help rebuild a government. Now, what does that government look like? It is certainly not an Islamist government. And that might be very well enough. I think asking what the exit is a very worthwhile question. I think maybe the question before that is, how does any of this actually work if the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, isn't destroyed? Now, there have been reports that there is dissension amongst the IRGC. They are questioning how they want to move forward. Do they want to be loyalists to this regime or any part of this regime or not? President Trump's commentary is, surrender, you get immunity, nothing will happen to you. You don't surrender, you're going to die. How in the world does that happen if there are no boots on the ground? I'm not saying I want that. I'm asking a question. How does it happen? Do we now arm the Iranian people and they go directly at the IRGC? How does that happen? I'm not saying it can't. And by the way, they may have the answers. This may have been well thought out. And they're like, if we do X and if we do Y and if we do Z, these things can work. And here's how we can do that. A little bit of this is going to be watch it unfold. But saying 4 to 5 weeks might be hey, here's how we give this some ramp up. Give this time to work. Then, according to a site or a online account, an X account called, is it Dexerto? Producer Landon, Dexerto? Dexerto, the leading source for influencer, streamer, gaming, and viral content. And you're like, Tony, never heard of it. They have 1.3 million followers. Somebody's heard of it. According to them, Reese's, the candy, Reese's is releasing a peanut butter cup flavored toothpaste for a limited time in Australia and New Zealand. I am going to make the assumption that this right here is all just nonsense. But it says Reese's with fluoride, plus it's got the fluoride. Reese's toothpaste peanut butter cup flavor. And they have a photo of a yellow toothbrush and yellow bristles with the brown toothpaste on it. And it doesn't look like toothpaste. I don't even want to know what it smells like. Super weird. But the third thing, of course, is the conversation about the China connection, as we were discussing earlier. When you take a look at what has happened in Iran, you cannot deny what this means for China. China is a very thirsty nation. They manufacture things. This is what they do. They don't actually create things. They're not capable of creation. They are capable of theft, but they build things, right? It's cheaper to build it here. We build it here. We've got all our factories here and everything else, and that's what they do. They build things. But they are indeed a thirsty country, and they want a country that wants to grow, and a country that makes the claim they can pull all these people out of poverty. And they've pulled some people out of poverty through their yuan manipulation and currency manipulation and stealing of technology to sell their own products to the world at cheaper prices because they have slave labor. They are in need of oil. They're in need of a lot of oil. They get their oil through very, very shady systems. Oh, sure, they buy oil on the market. Undoubtedly true. But they also got their oil from Venezuela. Venezuela had a series of sanctions on it. So there were ghost ships. These oil tankers that are old and they're kind of rusted out and they're single hull. And if they were to get into an accident or there would be a small fire, the entire tanker would sink to the bottom of the ocean. All the oil would be in the ocean. You think the communist Chinese care about environmental anything? Only Greta Thunberg thinks that the communist Chinese care about environmental anything. You have to be Greta Thunberg stupid to believe that. The Chinese were getting their oil via these Russian ghost tankers that were then moving the oil into Chinese tankers and then heading to ports. The other place they were getting their oil was Iran and avoiding sanctions. So now the United States has taken out Maduro and ended the ability of oil to flow to China, and has now taken out the Ayatollah and is ending the ability for oil to flow to China. That's something. That is intense. And I asked the question, that's two. What is the third part of this? What is the third part here to thwart China's hegemonic desires in the Pacific Rim and in the Western Hemisphere? And I asked the chat room, and the chat room answered properly, Cuba. This happened last week. I laughed out loud when I heard it. It was President Trump. It was the helicopter presser. And he said, like he somebody, hey, could you pass the milk? He said, maybe we'll have a friendly takeover of Cuba.
The Cuban government is talking with us, and they're in a big scale of trouble, as you know. They have no money, they have no anything right now, but they're talking with us, and maybe we'll have a friendly takeover of Cuba.
Holy crap. It's, by the way, exactly what I said a couple days ago when I could not believe I heard it. Friendly takeover of Cuba is the most insane thing I ever heard in my life. Just joy. You know that the Iranians are right now dancing in the streets. They're dancing in the streets of Tehran. They're dancing in the streets of London. They're dancing in the streets of Los Angeles and New York because they are overjoyed that the Ayatollah is gone. Only Rashida Tlaib and today's American left is upset. Only CNN is angry. These absolutely terrible people. The Iranians who lived under this hell, whose cousins lived under this hell, whose grandparents lived under this hell, they're thrilled. Thrilled. If the remnants of the Castro regime falls and Cuba is free, the people of Miami and Hialeah, Broward County in Florida, they are going to openly weep for a month. You're not going to believe the tears of joy from these people. And if the United States is able to free Cuba, and now you have changed the scope of things in Venezuela, where is China and Russia? Where do they look to have their thumbprint, their imprimatur on the Western Hemisphere? Where's their oil coming from for China, except for Russia? Where is their opportunities for expansion coming from in the Western Hemisphere? A free Cuba? Good Lord. That's the China connection. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. Welcome back, guys. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Good to be here. I I was telling producer Landon, I got an email from the station, from the event and some feedback and everything else. And there were some people who were part of our VIP and they didn't get their goodie bag, because VIP, you get a little thing, you get a whole thing. And I was like, how is that even possible? And I was going through the list, and the list has like 6 people on it. That's very weird. Did they not? How they forget? Someone else pick it up? Whatever. Things happen. But it's weird that 5 of the 6 people are people I know personally, are good friends. I smoke cigars with. I do stuff with all the time. I don't know what they were doing. So now I gotta go handle that. So it's gonna cost me dinner. Taking everybody to Arby's. Can't go wrong with a Jamocha shake, people. All right, put me up. All I'm saying is you can't go wrong with a Jamocha shake. Oh, this conversation came up. I forget Arby's is my guilty pleasure. No, not Arby's. I'm sorry. Hardee's is my guilty pleasure, but a Jamocha shake at Arby's is right on. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Hardy, when I lived in California, it was Carl's Jr. I don't know why they changed the name when you cross the Mississippi. It's like it's Hellman's on the East Coast, and then you cross the Mississippi, and it's Best Foods. I don't know why. I don't know why it's done like that. I don't know who decided this, but it is. It's like radio. On the east side of the Mississippi, everything starts with a W, and on the west side of the Mississippi, everything starts with a K. Why a W and why a K? I still don't have the answer for that. We should look that up. Why W and K for radio stations? You'd think doing this, I should know this. Originated from international agreements established in 1912 at the International Radio Telegraphic Conference in London. N and A are military and government use. K and W designated for commercial broadcasting stations. There it is. Now you know. The point is, I could use a Jamocha shake. I think that's really the point that I was trying to make to everybody. Sorry, just got a little sidetracked right there. As for the Iranians, they are now considering a boycott of the World Cup, which is scheduled to take place in the United States. Oh, okay. I don't know what to tell you. You want to skip the World Cup, Iran? You're more than welcome to. I can't imagine that the players are saying this. This has to come from somebody who's connected. What is certain is after this attack, we cannot be expected to look forward to the World Cup with hope. The U.S. regime has attacked our homeland, and this is an incident that will not go unanswered. It's a weird way to say thank you, but okay. If you don't want to be at the World Cup, it's your loss. This is Tony Katz today. What am I supposed to do? Can't get worked up by it. It's their loss, plain and simple. Now, we've got more radio show coming up at WIBC.com, so you want to go over to WIBC.com and listen. Don't forget to subscribe there on the YouTubes. Be happy to have you. And I'm looking forward to people screaming at me, how dare you say that people who served in the military are cowards because they don't want to take out the terrorist regime. Having a disagreement about philosophy is fine. Making the claim that you can't engage in an action because you're sending somebody else's kid to fight is a ridiculous argument, and I do think is a cowardly argument. I said it, I meant it, I'm not apologizing for it. You're always sending somebody else's kid to fight. Always. It's always the case. And sometimes it is necessary, and sometimes it is right. find that argument so despicable. No, I did not serve in the military. Now, usually what the argument comes back is, then who are you to say? I'm a citizen of the United States and I vote and I can recognize right from wrong. And there's a time where you have to fight and you are always sending somebody else's kid. That's reality. Should I somehow not recognize that this is the reality? Great. You respond with shocker. What is that? You would not have wanted me in the military at the time. There are some men and women who are absolutely built for it, and they were better than me then. 10,000%. My life had to come. It's not a great story, but it is my story. And here I am today. Can I help you? You are always sending somebody else's kid into battle. That's the point. So the idea that you can't be sending these kids to the battle, the military is not there just so they can march in a corner or march in a circle and look good in a uniform. Could we all grow up? That's what I demand. Not your ignorant stupidity. Honesty about the situation, which I just gave you. And you now want to utilize as an attack as opposed to engaging. I swear I've got no time for the silliness. You think I'm saying it with callousness? I think I'm saying it with honesty. You're always sending somebody else's kid, so you better damn well do it right. They better be the best equipped. They better be the best trained. You better go in with overwhelming force, and you better do everything you can to preserve as many lives as possible. We don't differ in this. Gosh, I hope we don't differ in this. But the fact that sometimes they have to go. The woke right doesn't think that there's a moment they have to go, and the woke right is wrong. And the leftists, well, holy hell, are they wrong? And that's my point. Far from being callous. I get the severity. And I'm saying that the idea of you just want to send somebody else's kid into battle, that line is gross. We should say so. That line is stupid. That line is cowardly. Far from callous, man. Far from callous. And if you want to say to me that that's what I just said is disrespectful, since it is obviously not disrespectful, you just want to be this guy and you don't want to listen. I gave it my best shot, man. That's all there is to it. That's it, nothing else. Guys, I appreciate you so very, very much. The radio show continues at WIBC.com. My conversation with Stephen Yates. I'll make sure to get that video up as soon as possible. I appreciate you guys. I'm here every Monday through Friday at noon. Agree with me, disagree with me. I just appreciate having you here so very much. Love the chat. Great work, guys, as always. Great meeting some of you on Saturday. Look forward to meeting more of you. Next event's in June. And here's the only hint I will give. There will be cake. I leave it there. I appreciate you guys. I will catch you all tomorrow. Thanks again. Be good. Take care.